it's past cancer, it's past all these things. It's the most feared disease in the country, and it's the most expensive single chronic disease in the country.
Can you give us a concrete example of a chronic illness that the treatment or a drug for a chronic illness is being hindered as it relates to development because of what I understand when you talk about the system? It looks like the three-letter word and acronyms are the government. You have Big Pharma, you have these patients and doctors, and then the scientists who are creating drugs. So like what's in the pipeline right now, or what could be in the pipeline in the future to help solve this issue of like this murky system that you're describing?
Well, so right now we have the world's only privately controlled phase 3 Alzheimer's prevention asset. Alzheimer's in the US costs over $500 billion a year. And I believe that we can prevent the majority of that expenditure, like the vast majority of it. Now, the money is one thing, but the suffering is actually really like the key here. The patient suffering and the family suffering. The one of the leading causes of bankruptcy is actually this long-term patient care and medical bankruptcy, right? So it's destroying families. It's destroying people's lives. It's a horrible disease. 7 million people in the U.S. currently have Alzheimer's, and it's the sixth leading cause of death in the country, and the only one in the top 10 that's growing. Right. So there's a really unique opportunity there to create a pilot project for this America First Pharma idea. And we at Axiom would love to forego the traditional system and actually do something really disruptive here. And I can't imagine a better first step, because you're going after the most feared disease in the country. So it's past cancer, it's past all these things. It's the most feared disease in the country, and it's the most expensive single chronic disease in the country, right? So, and the current treatments, not prevention, but the current treatments are on average over $100,000 a year cumulatively for the administration and for the drugs. And they come with a hefty side effect profile. Right. And this goes back to the acronyms, where it's not just government, it's also scientists do this too, to some degree. But there's something called ARIA-E, which if you look it up, it's drug-induced brain swelling, right? But if you write drug-induced brain swelling, it sounds much worse than ARIA-E. And so these drugs have that as a side effect. It's listed, it's known. And they're also cumbersome on the patients because you have to get IV infusions on a regular basis. And these are only approved for treatment because of those limitations, because of you can't go into prevention with something that costs, a fortune every year and is extremely cumbersome. You got to get IV infusions and it causes these side effect profiles. So you're not going to do that. But in our case, we're ideally situated to be able to prevent, right? And that's really the solution here is let's prevent this from happening in the first place. Let's prevent, you don't want to wait until your brain has problems to solve it. You want to make it so your brain doesn't have problems. And so on a very simple basis, that's what we're trying to do. And what's disruptive is, what should Lou do right now? If I were doing it like everybody else in the existing system, let me show you how broken it is. Big Pharma has come to us and they've tried to buy the drug. They've tried to shelve the drug and wait so that they could keep making profits from their existing approved treatments, even knowing that this would be safer or better. They've tried to buy it again. So there's been multiple approaches now from this angle. And then what would happen? I would lose control of the ability to negotiate the price. So they would make the price more and they would make the access less. So, all I believe is that we should figure out a way to make the right thing easy and the wrong thing hard. And what we're doing now in the system is making the wrong thing easy and the right thing hard. Now, getting, hundreds of millions of dollars and huge amounts of money from the pharma for selling the product to them, or billions of dollars for selling the product to them, and licenses and fees and all these great things, that's why people do that. And what I'm saying is, I don't want to do that. This is a historic opportunity with historic leadership to make a really massive change, not a little change, not fixing a flat tire, putting a motor on the bicycle. Like, this is a different thing. And we're doing it in a way that is fundamentally disruptive. So without those pieces, you can't do something this big to the system. And it won't just be us after this pilot program works. Other programs for major chronic diseases could come in and be examples where you were directly challenging the existing model and actually encouraging a model that supported low-cost drugs as opposed to the most expensive drugs possible for the least amount of people. You'd go after the least, like, how many people can you access that need it, and how can you make it as affordable as possible so that you're actually doing something that's right?